go to the Gulf, and it's incredible to be in a place that has pride in itself, that believes in its religion. Those people are happy. They're welcoming of others. They're tolerant of diversity. They're Muslims.
They're Muslims.
It's a country governed by Sharia law.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am a reaver, and I was taught how to pray Salah.
That means every single time I pray,
the person who told me gets the reward.
5 times a day, from Fajr to Isha.
If you want to support someone like me in learning Salah,
then sponsor 10 people for just £100.
Remember the Prophet, peace be upon him, said,
charity does not decrease wealth. Click the button and donate now.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. If you're watching this video and it's Salah time, please pause it and go pray and come back when you're done. Please check out the description section of this video to support the channel. I saw a clip from a podcast where Tucker Carlson was being interviewed by an all-American host. What was particularly interesting to me was Tucker Carlson described how the West was in decline. But instead of blaming this on Muslims or refugees, Tucker took full accountability by outlining how this regression is due to Westerners losing the religious aspect of their culture, as well as succumbing to degenerate lifestyles that promote instant gratification and also being enslaved by usury through the banking system. And not only that, Tucker also made the bold claim that Muslim nations that incorporate Islamic law, i.e. Sharia, are thriving and are miles ahead of Western countries. Let's watch the first clip.
I travel so much that I see it. There's not a single Western city that's thriving. And they're all degrading in exactly the same way.
Is a lot of it just a moral decay? Or is it actually true from everything?
It's a lot of things, but it's self-hatred. Every city.
Crazy.
Every European city, every American city. It's just why people lose their will to live, their will to pass on their culture, their values, their religion to their children, their will to have children. It's all gone. I mean, it's not gone with everybody, but I mean, in the cities, you really see it. It's like the people who built this are long gone, and their descendants have fled, and they don't care enough to keep it going. There's just a lack of self-respect. That is disgusting to me, and I have contempt for it. It doesn't bother me to be hated. What really bothers me is when people hate themselves. If you hate if you hate yourself, how are you going to treat me?
That's correct.
Oh man, I don't like it. So I notice it because I travel outside the Western world, the white world. I'll just be honest, the white world. I travel a lot in the Middle East. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm not Muslim, obviously. In fact, I'm like a Christian, flat out Christian, and my ancestors are from Europe, and so I have nothing in common on that level with the Gulf. But you go to the Gulf, and it's incredible to be in a place that has pride in itself, that believes in its religion and culture, that thinks we're onto something. And this is great. Look at what we're doing. We're really proud of this. Those people are happy. They're welcoming of others. They're tolerant of diversity. Like we always talk about tolerant of diversity. There's none of that here. Are you kidding? All the whites, we love black people. Then they run and move to Bozeman because there are no black people.
Absolutely. Send their kid to the...
They hate diversity.
They hate it.
And our version of it isn't working at all. At all. So, but you go to a country like Japan or the Emirates or Qatar or Saudi Arabia, and you see that when people are self-confident, when they're really pleased with what they're doing and they believe that their system is the right system, that self-confidence results in a kind of welcoming attitude. So you'll be sitting at dinner in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and you'll say, I'm really kind of pro-Jesus, like I'm a Christian. They'll be like, oh, that's so great.
And they don't have the same...
Well, they mean it.
And they don't have the same belief.
No, they're Muslims.
They're Muslims.
It's a country governed by Sharia law.
Right.
And they're like, that's great.
Good for you. Yeah.
It's great.
Tucker claimed that as a person that travels a lot, he hasn't seen a single Western city in Europe or America that's thriving. Tucker put this moral decay down to self-hatred, lack of religion, and not prioritizing family life and having children. It is refreshing to hear someone be so honest, instead of the crybaby bigots we see online and in the Western media that pin all the blame for their own shortcomings on immigrants or Muslims. Tucker nailed it when he said, due to the majority of the population of Western nations being conditioned to adhere to hedonistic lifestyles, they have in turn lost their self-respect. respect. As Tucker said, this is why we see these hateful types project their own insecurities and failures onto others. I would say ethno-nationalists and Islamophobes are a perfect example of this. And to be completely fair, this lack of morality cannot be attributed to all Westerners, because as we've seen with the Gaza crisis, there are plenty of people who stand with the pro-Palestine cause due to their moral compass being intact. Tucker Carlson had the humility to admit that his experience visiting Islamic nations has been nothing short of, in his words, incredible and amazing, despite him not being Muslim. Tucker described the Gulf as a place where people are self-confident, happy, welcoming, tolerant of others, and as having great pride in their religion, which all contributes to a thriving and innovative culture, as he called it. Of course, like any group of people, there will always be outliers that don't fit this description, but in general, he's accurate in his analysis. Tucker also claimed that the West's version of diversity has failed, and that there is an outright racism problem in Western nations, where certain groups of white people are openly prejudicial towards minorities. I can attest to this, as some of the racial stuff I see and hear online is absolutely shocking and completely disgusting. I respect Tucker's honesty in admitting that Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, is shown the utmost respect in Muslim countries, and that Sharia legal systems work extremely well despite the anti-Islam propaganda being circulated in the West. Let's watch the next clip.
And you notice, like in ISIS or Al-Qaeda or like the Muslim extremists, they're all from like collapsed, pathetic societies dominated by colonial powers. They've been degraded, and that's why they're so angry, right? So there's something about being degraded that turns you into a violent nutcase extremist. You're seeing a lot of violent nutcase extremists in our country, not surprising because the country's being degraded.
Correct.
So in a country with self-confidence, people are tolerant and open-minded and happy. And in a country where people are told to hate themselves, they start to hate others. Duh. This is all like very obvious, but I only know that because I've traveled a lot. And I am naturally open-minded. Like, just because you don't do it my way doesn't mean it's bad. Like, I really feel that way. It's where they're into things that I'm not into, like, I don't know, polygamy or Islam. And I can sort of look at it and be like, no one's forcing this on me. I'm not mad at you for being a polygamist. I think it's really hard. But whatever, leaving that aside, but I can go to a place like that and I don't feel like I need to judge everybody on their local customs. I just don't feel that need. But in the process of doing that, like you get perspective on your own society. And the core problem is a loss of faith in our people, in our values, in our religion. Just don't believe anything. I don't care what you tell me. Like, I'm noticing that New York City has people shitting on the sidewalk or having sex in ATM vestibules, and people are dying of drug ODs on the street and their carjackings. You're telling me it's thriving. I was just there. It's not. Like, I don't care what stats you throw. Well, according to the American Academy of Bullshit, it's actually the best it's ever been. Really? I was there last week. It's not. All I'm saying is let's treat the people who run the banks, the people who are getting rich from usury, like the criminals they are, and make them suffer, because that's totally fair. If you exploit and destroy people, you're not a good person, and we should just say that. And I think we should start by getting collective action. Everybody who's deep in credit card debt, I don't care what your race, it would be actually a way to unify the country. We're just going to have, this month, we're all getting together, and we're not going to pay our credit card bill.
That would be amazing.
Bitch? What are you going to do about it? But your average person can't do that. So why don't we all get together and do that? You know what would happen if we did that? I'd be assassinated immediately just for saying that.
Tucker addressed an important point. The extremist groups in Muslim countries are the result of Western colonialism and political strategy. This is very relevant when we consider how prominent US and Israeli politicians have outright admitted to creating, financing, arming, and propping up these extremist groups to serve the political agendas of non-Muslims. Tucker was also honest enough to admit that there are just as many non-Muslim extremist groups in Western nations. The only difference is that the pro-Israeli political entities that prescribe certain groups as being extreme don't do so to certain far-right factions in the West, because they utilise them to achieve their political goals, with the knock-on effect being yet more social and economic decline in Western countries. Tucker is also open-minded enough to see how polygynous Islamic marriages can work for some people. And he was correct when he said such marriages can be difficult to manage. This is due to the extremely high religious threshold that needs to be met in order for men to qualify for such marriages in the first place, hence why they are extremely rare even in Muslim countries. Tucker made the claim that in comparison to non-colonized Muslim Muslim nations, the West seems non-religious, degenerate, and even criminal. Again, to be fair, I wouldn't generalize all Westerners in this way. However, it is true for an alarming majority. So when certain people make the claim that Britain or America are Christian countries, they're not being honest. They're instead using Christianity as an excuse to discriminate against Muslims in most cases. Tucker made an excellent point when he said the Western banking system, in particular usury or interest rates, which is forbidden in Islam, is another destructive factor that is crippling the West, even going as far as labeling these Zionist elitist bankers as criminals. Tucker pointed out that until there is a unified effort to stand up to these bankers by refusing to pay interest, the West will forever remain enslaved and in turn in decline. And as he said, if he was to organise such a movement, it would probably result in him being assassinated, which just exposes how dangerous these people really are. Like I said, it's a breath of fresh air to hear someone be this honest, in contrast to the nonsense propaganda we hear in the Western media, which is yet another industry run by the same people who run the banks. Thank you for watching. Until next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.